Hi everyone. We're just going to give this a few seconds here to let people hop on the video. If anyone is in the live stream right now, let me know that you're here in the comments and maybe where you're streaming from. We'll get started in just a few seconds here. All right, I think we can go ahead and get started. If you are streaming live, let me know that you're here in the comments. I'll be keeping an eye on the comments throughout this whole video, and my colleague will also be in the comments posting links and things as I mention them. So thanks again for joining us. My name is Kate Hansen. I am a policy assistant at the center, and I'm based in our Nevada, Iowa office, so central Iowa. And today I'm looking forward to chatting with you about the Conservation Stewardship Program, or CSP. So once again, just a few housekeeping items. If you're watching live, feel free to be active in the comment section, asking questions, say hello, any comments or ideas you have. And once again, my colleague will be in there as well, dropping links. Those links will stay with the video, so if you're watching this as it's been recorded, those should be still in the comment section on our Facebook page. So just an overview of what we'll be discussing today. Our topic, once again, is the Conservation Stewardship Program, or CSP, and applications are now open for next year's contracts, so 2021 contracts. If you're in Nebraska, that deadline is November 20th to get your applications in, so that's coming up pretty quickly. If you're in Iowa or other states, we're expecting those deadlines to be announced in the coming months, but we have not heard anything yet. So I'll give you a bit of an overview on what the program is and also provide some detail on things you probably should know before applying. And finally, over the past few months, we've been delving into a lot of data about CSP in Nebraska and Iowa. And so I'm looking forward to sharing some of those findings with you and also a few ways that the states are leading the nation in program use. So a good place to start here would be, what is CSP? So I'm going to read you kind of the overview and then break it down on what each piece of that means. So CSP is a working lands conservation program that helps farmers and ranchers enhance conservation on their operations. It's administered by the United States Department of Agriculture's Natural Resources Conservation Service, or USDA NRCS, and it provides both financial and technical assistance. So let's break that down a little bit. To start, it's a working lands conservation program, which means that any operations enrolled in CSP are still in production. So you're still growing or raising on whatever you would normally be. And then the conservation practices that you're implementing with the CSP contract are being integrated into the operation. So for example, if someone has row crops, they may plant cover crops with CSP, but they're still in production. Contracts are 5 years in length with the option to renew, and during the application process, you'll work with local NRCS staff to put together a conservation plan that's fit for your operation. So basically, you're talking about a set of practices, or what they call enhancements, that really will work for you and help you achieve your conservation goals. During that process, NRCS staff will come out and do a site visit at your farm or ranch so they can better understand your operation. And there are a whole host of practices available, and what that means is that you can really make a plan that suits your operation. I work with a number of farmers and ranchers who use CSP, and I can tell you I have never met two who have identical contracts, because you really can tailor make it. Some practices available in CSP include cover crops, rotational grazing, buffer strips, grassed waterways, herbaceous weed treatment, and the list goes on. Another part of that description was that the program can help you enhance conservation. So you do need to have some existing conservation to be eligible for CSP. The idea of the program is that you can enhance those efforts or build upon them. If you're unsure if you are eligible, I recommend reaching out to your local NRCS office. They would be able to answer your questions, and if you're not eligible, probably guide you toward a program that would be a better fit. Also mentioned is that CSP contracts provide both financial and technical assistance. So on that technical assistance side, NRCS is going to support you with their expertise and work with you to plan out your practices. So for example, I was speaking with a farmer in eastern Iowa who did some forage planting with his CSP contract, and his local staff helped him put together a seeding plan for that ground. Another example is if you have rotational grazing in your contract, they'll help you put together a grazing plan. On the financial side, there is a payment as part of a CSP contract, and as no two contracts will look the exact same, the dollar amount will not be the same either. It really is based on the contract, what it looks like, and what practices you're implementing. But that financial assistance may be a good way to get the ball rolling with new practices, especially if costs are a barrier. So now to the applications that are being accepted currently and for next year. So this means the fact that they are open means that you can currently reach out to your local NRCS office to learn more or start an application. As I said, the Nebraska deadline is November 20th, 2020, and we're still waiting to hear back on the deadlines for Iowa and other states, but we're expecting those to be announced in the coming months. So in past years, and to the best of our knowledge, this first deadline, so Nebraskans the 20th, this has meant that you just need to submit one form that sort of gets the ball rolling. It has more general information. It's called the CPA 1200, if that means anything to you. But this is all to say that you don't have to have your entire conservation plan sorted out by the 20th. It is just getting in the door and kind of getting that process started. Once again, the most important thing is just making that first contact with NRCS, let them know you're thinking about applying, and they can help you from there. If you don't know the number of your local service center or your NRCS office, my colleague is going to be dropping a link to the USDA Service Center locator. It's pretty easy to use, and you just click on your state and your county, and you should be able to find that number pretty easily. A few things that you can do to start preparing for applying to CSP, especially if you're in a state that may not know its deadline or you're not going to apply this second. First, start thinking about what type of conservation goals you have. If there are practices you'd like to discuss with your local staff, or if you have resource concerns you'd like to address, this is a great time to be thinking about that before you apply. Another thing to keep in mind is that you will need an FSA farm number to apply and be enrolled in CSP. So if you don't have one, this would also be a good time to start the process. Now, during normal times, I would tell you to just go in and chat with your local NRCS folks, but these are not normal times, and NRCS is taking precautions due to the coronavirus. So they're doing most of their business by phone, so definitely do give them a call, and email and that sort of business is how they're dealing with things at this moment. They are still doing some site visits with social distancing built in. So in sum, figure out what your local NRCS office's number is, give them a call, and start thinking about what conservation goals you have. As I mentioned in the beginning, we have been looking through some past year's CSP data, and what we found is some really promising information about how and how much Nebraska and Iowa producers are using CSP. All of our findings can be found in 2 fact sheets on our website titled Impacts of the Conservation Stewardship Program in Nebraska and Impacts of the Conservation Stewardship Program in Iowa. Obvious reasons for those differences in name. They're for each state. So that's on our website, and I think my colleague is going to drop that link as well. So to start off and give you a sense of program use in these 2 states, in 2018, over 6 million acres in Nebraska and over 1.6 million acres in Iowa were actively enrolled in CSP contracts. And as a percentage of total farmland, that's 13% of total farmland for Nebraska and 5% for Iowa. So that just is impressive. And as far as contracts go, that same year, we're talking about 3,000 active contracts in each state. A handful of those contracts were also held by beginning farmers and ranchers. So 46 in Nebraska and 61 in Iowa, classified as beginning farmers or ranchers. As far as practices go and what practices folks are using in our states, I have the top 5 practices for each state, and these are in order of use. So in Nebraska, the top 5 are cover crops, herbaceous weed treatment, tree and shrub establishment, conservation cover, and structures for wildlife. And for Iowa, the top 5 are cover crops, integrated pest management, nutrient management, herbaceous weed treatment, and residue and tillage management, or no-till. We also see the ways that the 2 states are really leading the nation in program use. So in 2018, Iowa ranked number 5 among all US states for new CSP contract enrollment. And those new contracts accounted for over 200,000 acres of farmland enrolled. Nebraska, on the other hand, ranked number 1 among all states for renewed acres in CSP, and number 3 for percentage of eligible contracts renewed. So this means that producers who have used CSP and are eligible to renew are doing it again, which suggests to me that they're pretty satisfied with how it's working for them. This also tracks with what we found when we talk with farmers and ranchers and survey them. So in 2017, we conducted a survey of more than 800 CSP users across the Midwest. 84% of them reported high or very high satisfaction with the program. And as I said, we work with CSP users pretty much on a daily basis, and this tracks with what they share with us as well and some of their stories of using these practices and using this program. So in sum, CSP on the whole seems to be working well for farmers in Nebraska and Iowa, farmers and ranchers. And it's an opportunity to enhance conservation on your operation with technical and financial assistance. Applications are now open for next year's contracts. Nebraska's deadline is coming up pretty quickly, November 20th. If you're interested in applying or want to learn more, start thinking about your conservation goals, give your local NRCS office a call, and keep in mind that they're going to be following those coronavirus precautions. With that, I will open it up for questions if anyone has any in the comments. And I know my colleague is also going to drop my contact information. So if you're watching this recorded or something comes up later, feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call as well. While we're waiting to see if there are any questions here, I will say that I really enjoy working on CSP and this part of my job. It's great to chat with farmers and ranchers every day who have used this program or care about conservation and see the ways that this has helped them enhance conservation on their operations. So certainly think about it. Reach out to your local NRCS office. You're always welcome to reach out to the Center for Rural Affairs. Yeah. All right. Well, if there are no questions, we'll go ahead and end this live. Once again, feel free to email me, give me a call if you have any CSP questions, and check out our fact sheets. They've got a lot more great information than what I shared today. So have a great day, and for all the farmers and ranchers, happy harvest season.